About 500 million years ago, life took a gamble. It paid off. To make the crossover from water to land, change was imperative. Gills were traded for lungs, fins for limbs. Quickly, nature picked up the pace. The drive to survive on land was unwavering. Turning their backs on weight-bearing water, animals required sturdier, more supportive skeletons and new ways to get around. Living above the waterline delivered a sensational bonus: information. Eyesight being vastly improved in air. More time to strategize their movements. A great stride for predators and prey alike. The transition to dry ground. A tricky gambit that pushed the animal kingdom's earthly boundaries to the limit. One group that continues to hedge its bets are these ancient beasts. In the past 200 million years, research indicates their ancestors switched between living on dry land and in the water at least 3 times. At an impasse, crocodiles settled on being semi-aquatic. A choice that comes with pros and cons. On land, the cons list is topped by clumsiness. Shifting a long, hefty body takes effort. The belly crawl, their sluggish solution. The pro to being on land: energy. As ectotherms, reptiles must bask in the sun to raise their body temperature in order to keep their metabolism pumping. Once recharged, they're free to shed their ungainly image. The water is where they shine. Their tail, a hefty anchor on shore, instantly transforms into an incredible powerhouse. The shoreline, their strike zone. Natural submarines, these ambush predators exhale to reduce their buoyancy. The water cloaks their approach. It's all over in a flash. On a steady diet, these leviathans can stretch out more than 5 meters. A lot of equipment to hide. Having their eyes, nostrils, and ears located topside allows saltwater crocodiles to keep a low profile at the surface. Submerged, their binocular vision helps them lock on to a target. Then, a determined flick of their tail kicks them into top gear. Legs are tucked in to reduce drag. In less than a second, they can launch 2 meters up. It's the strongest snap on the planet. A saltwater croc's jaws can slam shut with more than 16,000 newtons of bite force. 3.5 times harder than a big cat. A second jaw joint makes this possible. It spreads the force evenly and stops their mouth twisting while clamping down. These formidable jaws are lined with more than 60 teeth, each with a reserve in the gum line to replace any that are worn out. A natural spectacular, the annual wildebeest migration in East Africa. An instinctual urge that compels enormous herds to cross treacherous rivers, putting them on a collision course with Nile crocodiles. Surprise plus brute force, a deadly duo. This time, it's a narrow escape. The lucky survivors stand safe, high on the riverbank, able to continue their marathon journey. Deep in the forest lurks a pioneer. Twice as ancient as crocodiles, these invertebrates were scuttling the Earth about 430 million years ago. Up close, centipedes are hypnotic. Numerous contact points virtually give them gravity-defying superpowers. Their rippling legs, unfazed by any obstacle. Centipedes are like tiny trains, their bodies comprised of segments, each carriage having one pair of legs. The farther back on the body, the longer the legs, giving the pairs further down the line more room to move, reducing the chance of collisions. As a centipede steams ahead, their undulating body adds to their momentum. To coordinate their movement, each body segment has a ganglion, which is like a small brain that controls its pair of legs. When the main brain gives the command, the ganglions set the legs in motion. Each segment times its actions according to signals relayed from the pair to the front and back of it, resulting in a smooth, rhythmic motion. Motion that can quickly turn nasty. A slow response leaves this victim entangled. Potent venom is injected via the forcipules, modified front legs that form pincer-like appendages. Once subdued, the feast begins. The leaf litter is a battleground. Quick escape plans are vital. Leaping 10 to 20 times their body length, a remarkable ability, equivalent to a human bounding the length of a basketball court. It's a feat that crickets and grasshoppers can execute in less than 1/30th of a second. Enough to foil this attack. A grasshopper's back legs function like catapults. Flexor muscles slowly contract, pulling the lower leg towards their body, bending it at the knee. Within it, a natural spring stores potential energy. To eject from danger, the leg muscles are relaxed, and the spring releases the energy. The leg jerks backwards, flinging the insect forwards and up. The threat of a ground assault is constant. Camouflage fosters sneak attacks. Wolf spiders have an unorthodox approach. Like martial artists, they like to flip their prey, a strategy that stops their struggling victim from harming them. Pinned down and immobile, the spider is then safe to sink its fangs in and deliver a killer bite. There's no escape from this lethal embrace. Spindly limbs also make excellent disguises. A clever mimic turns this busy pathway into a death trap. A crafty stick that can cast a net. To detect incoming meals, net-casting spiders are equipped with 8 eyes. 2 that are relatively monstrous and highly sensitive in low-light conditions. Effectively, night vision goggles. On the whole, an innovative 8-legged package. When creating webs, spiders produce silk from an organ on their abdomen, a spinneret. Netcasters have an additional organ, a 𝗥𝗲𝗹𝗁𝗁𝗀, that makes a special type of silk. The spider draws out this material and uses combs on their back legs to weave a flexible woolly net. In a split second, the deployed net stretches to double or triple its original size. It's quickly dabbed onto the prey, its fuzzy texture entangling flailing limbs. To bundle up their catch, the spider draws out additional silk. These delicate threads have a tensile strength greater than steel. A robust tomb, knitted by an incredibly nimble set of legs. For terrestrial animals, living in harsh, vast landscapes, agile limbs are indispensable. The largest mammal in Australia has physical attributes attuned to its surroundings. Red kangaroos roam the outback, living in mobs with up to 100 members. When grazing, they amble slowly, crawl walking. Having an extra leg gives roos 5 points of contact. 4 limbs down, the tail plants firmly, then pushes the red along. Its hind legs swing forward in unison. An ingenious balancing act. But this is the real showstopper. At speed, one bound can cover more than 7 meters. Ideal for quickly covering long distances on the never-ending search for food and water. Their iconic hops are powered by uber-efficient elastic energy. A kangaroo's hind legs are like gigantic springs, fitted out with long tendons and strong muscles. At the start of a hop, the weight of the kangaroo stretches out the tendons, building up elastic energy. When the roo pushes up, the tendon contracts, releasing the energy. 70% of the power needed for a hop comes from the tendons, which, unlike muscles, don't get tired and don't need to burn oxygen to work. Once in motion, a kangaroo is like a bouncing ball. The leg muscles only having to kick in the extra 30% to top up the bounding action. The result, very close to perpetual motion. When cruising, kangaroos use less energy than a four-legged animal running at the same speed. Bounding at 50 kilometers an hour, their feet only touch down twice a second. Their tail is not only a stabilizer, but also a counterweight that boosts every leap. But bounding isn't the only thing their powerful limbs are used for. Kickboxing, a rite of passage for male kangaroos. Combat that determines their rank in the mob. A stand-up fight for the right to pass on their genes. No playful jostle. This is deadly serious. During bouts, heads are thrown back to protect eyes from tearing claws. Their bellies wide open to gut-wrenching slams and brutal slashes. Tails are pushed to the limit, rearing the boxers up on their toes. A domineering stance. The slightest advantage could tip the balance. Once their feet have done the talking, the victor warily brings the conversation to a close. On land, speed can be achieved in many ways. Legs, optional. 20 kilometers an hour, an impressive pace. Whipping along the sub-Saharan savanna, one of the world's fastest snakes. The black mamba, a name that strikes fear. From the neck, the reptile contracts its muscles, sending lateral waves down the body. The side-to-side thrusts forming S-shaped bends. Every obstacle or indentation in its path, something for the bend to push off, sending the reptile on its way. Sluggish by comparison, their stout relative uses a different tactic. Puff adders are more straightforward, using rectilinear motion similar to a caterpillar. Large belly scales, scoots, push backwards and down, heaving the viper along. The keeled scales on its side flex as it gains ground, their ridges giving the adder extra grip. Slow, steady, silent. Classic traits of an ambush predator. Aggressive and belligerent. Their warning display is to coil back and puff up. Often, it's no bluff. Strike time, 1/4 of a second. Puff adders live up to their Latin name, which means striking violently. They do so with fangs so monstrous, they're hinged to allow them to be folded out of the way. When striking, the stored energy in the fangs explodes like an unlatched spring, sending the fangs flying, set to inject lethal venom. Acceleration 72 meters per second. Post-bite, the fangs swing back on their hinges and tuck away into storage. Rodents are the preferred target. The adder hovers over its victim, and waits, allowing its potent venom to act, a cytotoxin that destroys body tissues. Then, the jaws gape open and walk down the meal. Prey can fight back. Fast and feisty, mongooses are famed for standing up to cobras. Packs scurry around, baiting them, trying to sap their energy. A flared hood is not always enough to repel attacks, but they have a backup plan. Neutralize a threat from a safe distance. The Mozambique spitting cobra's liquid arsenal is designed to inflict pain. Their toxic streams have a range of 2 to 3 meters. To pull off this signature move, a spitting cobra squeezes muscles around the venom gland. In 1/5 of a second, these dead shots predict the movement of their victim. Their gaze follows the target. The noxious fluid exits at a 90-degree angle via forward-facing holes near the fang tip. Their head position aiming the high-pressure flow directly into the victim's face. The blinding spray is 90% accurate. 1 drop is all it takes. So if the eyes are within the splash zone, they're done for. A striking defensive display that gives the cobra enough time to escape. One-third of the planet's dry land is desert. Intense terrain that demands extraordinary adaptations. Slithering in the face of adversity, a hardy survivor of the Namib Desert steadily makes its mark. Desert life is not always straightforward. Scorching temperatures and slippery sand, conditions that sidewinders have come to grips with in an ingenious fashion. The dune's ripples are enough for the scaly bends to push off. From the head down, a sidewinding snake lifts a section of its body and swings it to the side. That section rests on the sand momentarily, a pivot point. Meanwhile, the rest of the body is held up, a suspended loop. The loop progressively scrolls down the length of the body to the tail, a second pivot point. By the time the first loop reaches the tail, another has started at the head. It's a constant juggle. Only having 2 points of contact means the snake keeps its exposure to the hot, unstable sand to a minimum. It's like a scaly coil, hypnotically rolling across the dunes. The sand can also act like sunscreen and a hideout. Just as agile on the sand, the golden wheel spider. It's being tracked by a spider wasp. This ruthless parasite is on a gruesome mission, scouring the desert in search of a host to implant with eggs. Its quarry frantically digs a hideout. Golden wheel spiders are talented excavators. Their silk-lined burrows stretching half a meter below the dunes. But their arch-enemies are like tiny bloodhounds. Their digging skills are incredible, able to shift 10 liters of grit to invade a bunker. a volume of sand 80,000 times their body weight. To avoid being eaten alive from the inside, it's time to rock and roll. Freewheeling to safety. A dizzy escape plan. "20 cartwheels a second. They hurtle down the dunes. The steep slopes work to their advantage. A phenomenal getaway. From the extremes of the Namib Desert to a wintry forest in North America. Like shifting sands, snow is just as volatile. Other types of surprises lurk within the powder. Hidden edible treasures that these mammals scope out using sensitive ears. The mouse pounce. A quirky maneuver that is thought to use the earth to unearth a meal. The clue pointing to this, the fact that the majority of pounces observed are done facing northeast. A direction that's 20 degrees off magnetic north. Researchers think foxes are able to triangulate a rodent's position. While listening out for game, they're also searching for a sweet spot, where the angle of the sound matches the slope of the magnetic field. Like a rangefinder, this information helps them calculate the distance to target. Once launched, this guided missile can fine-tune its flight path with a tail swish. During a season when food is scarce, listening to their internal compass pays off. Hunger pangs have driven this North American feline from its den. Deep snow can be a challenge for the bobcat. Winter expeditions are expensive energy-wise. Their small paws sink in the fluffy powder. To save fuel when out on the prowl, they stick to compacted pathways or logs and rocks jutting from the snow. Bobcats can swim, but in chilly conditions, leaping is preferable. They can jump 1.5 meters high and cover twice that distance horizontally. A handy ability for an ambushing carnivore. Tactical leaps happen in 2 stages. The first prep stage sees the cat sink into a deep crouch. Their contracting muscles coiling back, storing energy. For the launch stage, they lift their forelimbs and extend their hind legs, releasing their muscle potential, which rockets them forward. Not quite as adept in the freezing rapids. It's a calculated risk they're happy to take. Forests. Multi-level terrestrial environments that cover about 30% of the land surface on planet Earth. Lush habitats that require agility to navigate. High in the canopy, insects that live and work as a team. The branches, bustling highways, bumper to bumper, with weaver ants. On the colony's outskirts, a scout encounters trouble. A raiding party of dangerous intruders, trapjaw ants. Snapping shut at 65 meters per second. Their mandibles are some of the fastest predatory appendages. At rest, the ants' jaws are spread out wide, cocked open at 180 degrees, a latch mechanism restraining them. Like an archer's bow, the drawn-back jaw is packed with potential energy. Minute hairs lining the mandibles act as triggers. The slightest contact pops the latch, sending the jaws slamming shut with a cracking force. In a tenth of a millisecond, these mini hatchets can sever limbs, or apply a vice-like stranglehold. Not all attacks go unanswered. Pinned, but not disabled, a weaver ant retaliates, pumping formic acid from their venom gland. Rapidly, the attacker switches its trap to defense mode. When threatened, a trapjaw ant can blast itself out of harm's way. The force of the jolt is about 400 times the ant's body weight, powerful enough to hurl it to safety. In a forest, dexterity is vital. Marvelous disguises. Steady, calculating demeanor. Qualities that give chameleons the upper hand in their leafy domain. But these steal the show. Able to see anything happening 180 degrees horizontally of them, plus up and down 90 degrees, chameleon eyes don't miss a trick. To help them get the complete picture, specialized anatomy allows the eyes to scroll around freely. Deep cone-shaped towers give the eyeballs room to move, and thick muscular lids keep the balls in place. These flexible safety nets allow the side-mounted eyes to bulge out and thoroughly scan the environment. Chameleons can watch the world through each eye independently, or switch to binocular vision. While hunting, two eyes peering independently essentially doubles their chances. When a prey item is spotted, the eyes sync up, recouple, and work together. To sneak up on potential meals, chameleons move with the forest, shunting to and fro, their bodies mimicking windswept branches. Then they freeze, zinging out with twice the acceleration of a sports car. The spittle flies. A chameleon's tongue is made up of a sticky tip, plus accelerator and retractor muscles. To whip out its tongue, muscles are squeezed, pulling on elastic tissues, storing up potential energy. The pad on the end packs a sticky, grippy punch. Then the retractor muscles contract and reel in the catch. An exceptional way to grab a bite. 80% of terrestrial life exists in forests. High in the canopies of Central America, spider monkeys display their playful acrobatics. Spider monkeys are experts at hanging on and keeping gravity at bay, thanks to two pairs of flexible limbs, hook-like hands with sharp nails, plus a grippy tail. Learning to safely negotiate these heights starts early. A moment to contemplate. It takes the plunge. After months of piggybacking, a baby howler monkey is ready to broaden its horizons. Sticking the landing takes practice. It's a risky learning curve. Repeated until the challenge is complete. Across the Pacific in Australia, a gymnastic arachnid, the Portia jumping spider. Their trampolining abilities can catapult them up to 50 times their body length. Spiders' legs operate like mini pistons, powered by hydraulic pressure. To extend their limbs, spiders pump up the pressure in their midsection, which sends their body fluid, hemolymph, coursing out. The force of the fluid racing through their legs makes them extend. To jump, the spider adds an extra move. They flex their leg muscles, which creates elastic energy. When relaxed, the energy springs out. The pressurized legs extend and lift off. In lieu of a parachute, the spider sends out a silky dragline, a delicate but effective brake. Their jumps have a purpose: to carry out perilous assaults on large venomous prey. The tiny assassin confronts an orb spider, more than 3 times its size. It's a risky tactic. If it gets it wrong, the consequences are swift and dire. The giant prevails. This spider tries a different approach. A rear attack leaves the orb defenseless. The Portia's potent venom allows it to overwhelm big opponents like this. After shimmying to safety, this noxious 𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗀 drinks in its success. Out on the African savanna, water is scarce. The tallest land mammals have an advantage: their height. Thorny acacias provide some moisture. It's an awkward exercise to truly quench their thirst. Stooped down, legs splayed out, giraffes usually drink once every few days. This gangly position leaves them vulnerable. Standing tall, they're watchtowers, able to spot and smell any approaching danger from a safe distance. And if spotted, they're off. Top speed, about 55 kilometers per hour. Giraffes roam around on the planet's longest legs, stretching to 1.8 meters on an adult. The front pair look taller, but the difference is slight, only 10%. Walking, their gait is unusual, moving both legs on the same side of their body together. Statuesque, their necks only have 7 cervical vertebrae, the same as most animals. But each vertebrae is about 25 centimeters, resulting in a neck almost 2 meters long. Special ball and socket joints connecting the vertebra give giraffes' necks the flexibility of a slinky toy, a 360-degree range of motion. Despite being armed with a pair of bony ossicombs, these stumps are not their primary weapon. "270 kilograms of muscle and bone. A savage wrecking ball. Thundering body blows ripple through the challengers. Known as necking, this ritualized sparring is all about domination. The drive to score breeding rights is intense. Broken jaws and necks common during these jousts. These dueling giants are an intimidating sight to any onlooking predators. The wide open African plains are the ultimate racetrack for these swift felines. Disruptive spots break up their outline. A crafty hunter, rendered invisible. Hearing that can detect the softest sounds. Eyes that can see detail 5 kilometers away. A nose that can pick up odors from twice that. A cheetah on the hunt. In 2 seconds, these cats can accelerate up to 70 kilometers per hour. After that, their speed builds. One stride covers 7 meters. Cheetahs are the fastest land animals, maxing out at 112 kilometers per hour. A killer pace that Springbok can't beat. Cheetahs have some inbuilt track gear that gets them up to speed. Short, blunt claws act like running cleats, biting into the ground, giving them traction as they push off. Grippy paw pads natural tire treads that assist hard and fast turns. Long legs powered by huge muscles, loaded with fast-twitch fibers that contract faster than standard muscles. At their peak, a cheetah's acceleration rate bumps over the 1 g mark, slightly greater than the force of gravity. For a cheetah on the hunt, the stalking phase is as crucial as their speed. Their approach is slow and calculated, sneaking them as close as possible to their mark, within 100 meters. Only then are they ready to launch their attack. In terms of speed, the planet's fully aligned inside a cheetah's body. A long, lightweight skeleton, an incredibly flexible spine, allowing for greater extension while running, adding to stride length and potential speed. A large heart that rapidly pumps oxygen-rich blood from a big set of lungs to fuel energy-hungry muscles. At speed, their respiratory rate soars up to 150 breaths per minute, triple that of a human while running. Their long tail provides stability, counterbalancing breakneck turns. But these feline speedsters have their limits. 400 to 800 meters. After that, things are brought to a halt to avoid overheating and exhaustion. Termite mounds, excellent resting spots and vantage points to scope out and plan their next charge. A trail of migrating wildebeest, too tempting to ignore. Half the size and weight of an adult, the cheetah selects a smaller mark. A mother's love can never be underestimated. Extraordinary animals have adapted to inhabit the Earth. Their individual characteristics and adaptations shaped by the sheer will to survive. After conquering land, the sky is the limit for nature. Fueled by ambition, courage, tenacity, and a desire to explore new horizons. Defying gravity, the animal kingdom's next great leap.